Have you ever looked at the smartphone in your hand or maybe just the clothes you're wearing and wondered about the incredible journey they took to actually get to you? Today, we're going to unpack exactly how the things we use every single day are made. Welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to guide you through this module. Now, we have a dual mission today. We aren't just going to master the core economic concepts of how goods are created. We're going to simultaneously master the specific Tagalog vocabulary you absolutely need to ace your Araling Panlipunan exams. Okay, let's dive right into this.
Here is our quick roadmap for today. We'll start off with the concept of production, move through its stages, break down the factors required, look at business organizations, and then finish up with our test decoder checkpoint.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the concept of production, or in Tagalog, Konsepto ng Produksiyon.
To really get this, we need to answer one fundamental question pulled straight from the text. Paano binubuo ang mga produkto? Let's break that down, word for word. Paano means how, binubuo means made or formed, and mga produkto are products. So, simply put, how exactly are products made?
Well, the answer is Produksiyon. Produksiyon is the economic activity where raw resources are processed to become entirely new products. And here is a massive vocabulary word you need to lock into your brain right now. Pinagkukunang yaman. The root word here is yaman, which means wealth or resources. Whenever you see pinagkukunang yaman on a test, know for sure that it refers to the raw resources required to jumpstart the production process.
So, we've got our raw resources ready to go. What happens next? Let's move to Section 2, the stages of production, or mga anyong ng produksyon.
There's a sequential journey that raw materials literally have to take to become usable goods, and it happens in 3 distinct steps. First up is primaria, which focuses on extracting raw materials directly from nature. Think farming, fishing, or logging. Next is secondaria, where those raw materials are processed or manufactured into intermediate goods. And finally, tertiaria, where the goods are finished, packaged, and ready to be used by consumers to satisfy their needs.
Picture a flowchart tracing these 3 stages. Building visual recognition is basically a superpower for your upcoming assessments. You can see the flow so perfectly. Primaria at the start, pulling the likas na yama, or natural resources, moving right into secondaria for processing, and finally tertiaria, yielding the finished goods. If you see a sequence like this pop up on your exam, you immediately know we're talking about the anyo ng produksyon.
Now that we understand the stages, we have to ask a logical question. What ingredients are actually required to make all of this happen? That brings us to Section 3, the factors of production, or mga salik ng produksyon. The word salik means factor or element, and there are 4 absolutely essential ingredients required to make any product in the world. Factor number 1 is lupa, which translates to land. But in economics, it's way more than just dirt. It encompasses all natural resources found above and below it. Now, the defining characteristic of lupa is that it's permanente, or fixed. You literally cannot create more land out of thin air. And because you're using someone's land, it earns a return or incurs a cost, known as renta or upa, which just means rent.
Our second factor is lakas pagawa, which means labor. The root word here is gawa, which means work or to make. This refers to the physical and mental effort contributed by human beings. Now, what do workers get in exchange for their time and skills? They earn a reward known in Tagalog as sahad, meaning wage or salary. Remember that exact pairing for the test. Lakas pagawa equals sahad.
Moving right along, our third factor is kapital. And thankfully, this sounds exactly like its English translation, capital. But remember, capital doesn't just mean cash. It refers to man-made goods used to create other goods. We're talking heavy machinery, tools, vehicles, and even factory buildings. And the cost associated with borrowing money to buy all these physical assets, that's called interes, or interest.
And finally, the fourth factor, the entrepreneur. They're the orchestrator of the whole shebang. The module gives the entrepreneur a very specific, highly testable nickname, the utak ng produksyon, which literally means the brain of production. They are the ultimate risk takers who combine the land, labor, and capital. And because they take on all that massive risk, their specific reward is called tubo, which translates to profit.
So we've got the 4 factors of production down. But how do people actually organize themselves legally to manage these factors? Let's shift focus to Section 4, Forms of Business Organizations, or Organisaini ni Negosyo.
The module breaks down 4 main structures here. First, let's contrast the absolute simplest form, isahang pagnegosyo, against sosyohan. Isa means one, so isahang pagnegosyo is a sole proprietorship, a single owner with full, complete control, but also full personal liability. On the flip side, sosyohan comes from the word socio, meaning partner. This is a partnership where 2 or more individuals combine their capital and share all the legal obligations and risks.
Now let's scale things up a bit and compare a corporation to a cooperativa. A corporation, or corporation, is large-scale. It's driven by stockholders who buy shares, and it's managed by a board of directors. The main focus here? Maximizing profit. A cooperativa, or cooperative, however, is deeply rooted in the community. Its primary goal isn't just massive profit, but mutual financial help and providing essential services directly to its members.
All right, welcome to Section 5, the Tagalog Test Decoder Checkpoint, or Pagsusuri ng Pagsuswilit. This is where the rubber meets the road. We are going to apply our new vocabulary directly to actual Araling Panlipunan test questions.
Here's the secret to passing these tests. You absolutely do not need to be perfectly fluent in Tagalog. You just need to be strategic. Think of this as your mnemonic keyword blueprint. When a test question asks about mangasalak ng produksyon, look for triggers. If you see permanente, which means fixed, or renta or upa, rent, the answer is lupa. If you see tao, meaning human, or sahod, wage, it's paggawa. If you see makina, machine, or interest, it's capital. And if you see utak, brain, risk taker, or tubo, profit, your answer is immediately entrepreneur.
When you look at an actual test page from the module, it can honestly look super intimidating if you try to translate every single word, right? So don't do that. Our ultimate strategy is scanning for English, structural parallels, and specific vocabulary triggers. Let's practice decoding a few of these exact test items using the blueprint we just built.
Let's look at test item number 2. The prompt says, ang tagagawa ng pasya at nagsisilbing utak ng production. Okay, let's apply our decoder. Scan the sentence. Boom. Do you see it? Utak ng production. We know utak means brain. The brain of production. That keyword maps directly to the correct answer, entrepreneur. You didn't even need to translate the rest of the sentence to completely nail it.
Let's try another one. Test item number 4. Ito ay fixed o permanenteng salik ng produksyon. Honestly, this one is a total gift because they actually used an English loanword. We easily spot fixed and the Tagalog word permanente. Which factor of production cannot be expanded and is permanently fixed? Pointing straight back to our blueprint, the answer is lupa, or land. One more, just to really lock this in for good. Test item number 9, tinatawag na interes ang gastos na ibinabayad. Stop right there. Literally, the very first line gave it away. We identified the trigger word, interest. What factor of production incurs the cost of interest when you borrow money to buy it? We map it immediately to capital. It really is that simple, and it is incredibly effective.
So, what's the ultimate takeaway here? Don't let complex Tagalog sentences overwhelm you. The trick is to isolate the question stem and match it with the subject keyword. Look for the mental anchors we mapped today, words like sahud, upa, tubo, and utak. If you can simply pair the economic concept to its Tagalog keyword, you are going to absolutely dominate your AP assessments. We have covered so much ground today, from the fundamental concepts of economics to the precise language needed to express them on test day. So I want to leave you with one final empowering question. Anong makabagong produkto ang kaya mong buuin gamit ang mga salik ng produksyon? What modern products can you create using these factors of production? You now have the economic understanding and you've got the Tagalog vocabulary. The only question left is, what will you build? Thanks for joining me on this explainer and keep on learning.